So the next day, so let's call it Monday, at 10 a.m., my doula Heather came to the house and she worked to help me steady the contractions basically. So I'd been texting her throughout all of this, of course, showing her what was going on. We had been keeping track of contractions in a contractions app, and she was like, let me know when you want me to come, but like with her contract and she has to be able to do things, like you don't want to have them come too early, but at the same time I was like, I need your help because like I cannot, these contractions are all over the place and we need to like do something to try to get them to be more regular. And so she came over and we worked to study the contractions. I don't remember what we did exactly, but like it was different positions. We used a TENS machine that was super helpful for the pain. And I remember right around when she arrived, that was the last time that I was able to eat anything until after my daughter was born. And I remember I had some sort of like leftovers, but it was like steak and potatoes, so it was like a hearty meal. But then the next time I tried to eat something after that, I puked a ton. And so there was no more food after that. 4 hours later at 2 p.m., contractions were now 3 minutes apart for 1 minute, and so we went to the hospital. 45 minutes later, I had a cervical check, and they said I was still 1 centimeter dilated, 80% effaced, negative 2 station, so absolutely nothing had changed except the fact that we were now, almost 24 hours later and the same level of pain. So I cried a lot. And I was like, don't send me home. And thank God I had the nurse that I did, because the nurse who was doing, the triage, the admitting, she said, well, we have an open room. Let's just put you in a hot bath, because sometimes that can help move things along. And so I got in the hot bath at 3 p.m. and she was like, we'll just put you in a hot bath for an hour. She came back at 4 and she was like, are you ready? And I was like, no. I'm scared you're just gonna send me home. So then she came back at 4:15 and then 4:30 and then 5, and I just kept being like, I'm scared to get out, you're just gonna send me home. And I couldn't rely on the TENS machine at that point, so it was just me and my doula. I told my husband to like sleep a little bit. At this point he hadn't slept at all, so I was like, Heather's got me, you go sleep because you haven't slept in 30 something hours, so you go sleep. Heather's got me while I'm in the tub. And the hot bath definitely helped, because at 5:30 I had a cervical check and I was 3 centimeters dilated and 90% effaced, and I knew this was the ticket, because I had asked my doctor a while before. I had been like when do you consider an acceptable point to get an epidural? And he was like, I don't care, you can be 3 centimeters. And so when they said 3 centimeters, I was like, I'm there. I did it. They're going to admit me. And they did. Thank God. So at 6 p.m. I was admitted. And by 7:30 I had my epidural, and things were joyous. From 7:30 until 10, I have no notes, because I was just vibing. I was straight up vibing. Like, my epidural was amazing. I could still move around a ton. I was playing on my Switch. Oh, I'll include a picture. I have a picture of me like sitting around playing on my Switch. I had switched into my like birthing dress. I had 2 birthing dresses, and so I had switched from the one that like I had been wearing most of that time into the one that I was like, this is the one I'm giving birth in. I had like an early labor dress, and then I had like a birth dress. So I was just like chilling, vibing, like playing my Switch, singing musicals, moving around. Everything was fine. At 10 p.m. my doctor came by and did a cervical check, and I was 4 centimeters dilated, 100% effaced, so great there, but still negative 2 station. That baby was not coming down. But contractions were still very consistent at that point and very strong, 2 minutes apart. I have no notes from 10 p.m. to 2:45 a.m., and that is where I will start part 3. And again, I know it's annoying that I'm splitting it into parts, but I want to emphasize how many days I was doing this.